Hey guys, it's Serge from Sisters of Fan. So we're back with a new video, and today we're going to talk about how we got this car here, how we changed basically from our previous model to this one, and why we did it as well. And so yeah, that's basically what we'll be doing. I'll be going in chapters and using data that I don't necessarily always have, but this time I do have some. And I hope you enjoyed the video. And remember to leave us a like and hit the subscribe button if you want to see more. I was a bit on a hiatus from doing all this, but now I'm focusing back on it, and hopefully I will release a lot more in the near future. All right, without further ado, let's get into it.
Why do these look like little chocolates? Like seriously.
Yeah, don't eat that. That's a wireless microphone. Nope, don't do that. All right, let's get to it.
Peace.
Okay, let's start with some context. So, before this car, I had a Tesla Model 3 2019, a dual motor. And I bought that car at a time when I was living in an apartment in a city. And basically, my needs were very, very different from what I had now. So, I really loved that car. I had purchased the full self-driving option that costs 7,500 at the time. And it was a bit of a challenging decision because I knew it would take time before it became available, but I never expected it to take that long. So in 2023, I was really wondering, if I would get FSD, in the lifetime that I kept the car, I would say, in the time that I kept the car. But yeah, and then suddenly, after a lot of people asking for it, Elon Musk announced that they would allow a one-time transfer of FSD to a new vehicle, but only for, I think it was 3 months, a 3-month window. And so I had sort of been, thinking about, do I need to change cars? And especially since we moved into a house and we got a dog, so our needs and for the car itself actually changed. Another thing I should mention is I didn't have the hook to pull any kind of trailer or any kind of stuff that could be useful. It like also a bike carrier or stuff like that. So yeah, I was sort of, following what was going on with Teslas and thinking about maybe upgrading one day. But when this announcement was made, I was really sort of, my interest was sort of piqued, and I started more seriously considering changing the car. So that brings us to the decision. So the decision, basically, it was a combination of things, but I started looking into the resale value of the previous car, and what I realized is that even Tesla was valuing the FSD option at zero, because since it hadn't been delivered, even Tesla, which I think was a bit abusive, was giving me, uh, prices to buy the old car back pretty low. And, if I had sold it like that without an FSD transfer, I would have lost all the money that I used to purchase the FSD transfer. So basically, I would have lost 7,500 Swiss francs. So that was part of the sort of the opportunity there to use the transfer to avoid losing that money and also having a car that fits my needs better. Okay, so once I sort of started considering this, I decided to make a list of the differences between the model I had and the new model that I was looking at. So basically, I chose that I wanted to go to a Tesla Model Y because of the wider space, and also I really enjoyed the performance and the fun that driving a high performance car was. So I I studied everything in comparison with the Model Y performance, dual motor performance, because I thought that would be a really cool car to have. And so that's basically what I have. So one of the most important parts is, of course, with an EV, your battery does age. And so one of the good things about changing the car is that I get a new battery. So basically, after 4 years, I get a brand new battery. So that's not a cost to neglect. Changing a battery, as you know, might be very expensive, although my degradation was probably not that bad. The other thing, I have some family members that are less mobile, older. The Model 3 is quite a low car, and I was also thinking about that. Um, a lot of my family members that have mobility issues were having trouble getting in and out of the Model 3 because it's quite low and the doors don't open that wide. So the Model Y actually solved that problem because the seats are sitting much higher, and basically you have less of a problem with that. Although the doors don't open as wide as other models of other car manufacturers do, unfortunately. And so it's still a little bit challenging for my father, for example, but it's still much better than in the Model 3. The other thing is, as you saw in the other video, we now have a dog. And so, although the dog could go in the Model 3, I was always concerned that the back seats would get scratched with his claws. And although I was careful, it's always a little bit of a stress. Plus, it did get the seats dirty. Now he's actually in the back there. He has his own space in the trunk, and so it's much better for if you have a dog. Of course, also I didn't have the powered trunk in my old Model 3 because it was an early model and that didn't exist. I have this now. The new computer as well. Basically, now I have the AMD Ryzen. There's even a more modern computer now in the latest cars, but that made a big change in terms of, for example, if you're using like the YouTube app, which took like I don't know, maybe 10 seconds to load up on the other one. On this one, it's almost instantaneous. So a big performance improvement in terms of the computer itself. And yeah, in general, more options and more stuff that's available. Not last, but next point is not a minor point, is this car, because of the color I chose, I was sure was made in Germany. And as you know, Germany is known for very good, high quality manufacturing of cars. So I was hoping that some of that would actually trickle into the Model Y. And to be honest, I kind of did because upon delivery, I saw none of the issues that I noticed in the Model 3, except for a minor one, but I'll talk probably about that one in another video because I talked to Tesla about it and it's not an issue. It's just a difference that I noticed with the Model 3. The other thing that's crazy is that since I went from a regular Model 3 to the new one, the Model Y Performance, my new car, although being heavier and bigger, is actually faster than the old one in terms of acceleration, so and top speed. So that's also a nice thing if you like Teslas for performance. I think it's worth the money, especially now that the difference between the model non-performance and the performance has reduced since the time then in 2019 when I bought the car, the Model 3. I also got track mode and 21 inches rims. Those always look better, makes the car more sporty, so that's great. I also get the tow hook. I get the boombox, although that's a double-edged sword because basically the boombox, it's an extra sound. But honestly, I was more concerned about it before I got it, and now I actually think it's a useful feature because I did have the issue of when I was backing up to always be extra careful of pedestrians that didn't hear me. Now they do hear me, so it's a little bit easier in those environments. I also get the heated windshield wipers. I'm going to go a little bit faster now. The 12-volt lithium-ion battery, so that also means that battery is not susceptible to losing its charge. Also the tinted back windows, which were not in my previous car. Yes, one thing that I really appreciate is much better sound insulation, and but that's only here in the front because the back windows weren't changed in the new Model 3. Um, Highland Model 3 that came out in 2024. That even has even better insulation, but it's still, I noticed a big difference there between the 2019 Model 3 and this car. Um, Yeah, it has a slightly better driving. I noticed that on the suspension being less rough. Although this is a performance model, I think basically the overall driving experience is more comfortable. But it can also be very sporty, which is fantastic. It has a better audio system as well. That was also improved. It has a huge difference in storage capacity. So we went from 649 to 2,158 liters. So that's more than 3 times the storage, I mean, the room inside. It has a heat pipe as well. That's mostly for efficiency. Um, and I mentioned some of the other points. Um, oh yes, there's the phone wireless charger, which is also nice. I had an aftermarket accessory for that, but now it's included, and it actually works a lot better than what I had. There's also the USB-C plug that's inside of the glove box instead of being sort of in the central console. I had hidden it with an accessory, so it wasn't much of an issue, but it's safer in the glove box because you can actually lock that. So if the car gets broken into, they can't just rip out the USB stick that's recording all the stuff. The Matrix headlights. So I'll make a separate video about those, but those are really, really amazing now that they're activated. Um, and yeah, and if I go to those are the pros of changing. The cons were it's expensive to change, to be honest. That's something to consider, of course. If you take the car with a lease, you can either give the car back or choose to buy it. So that's what I was looking in terms of financing. But of course, that's also a double-edged sword because maybe for some people it's better to buy, for others it's better to take a credit. But for me, the lease was the most interesting one. I'll talk about that in a moment. The resale value of the old car turned out to be a problem. Because of the FSD, as I mentioned, I was losing quite a significant amount of money on the value after 4 years. But I'll get back to that later. Um, of course, the other thing is, as I'm changing the rims and everything, you have to buy, and then the type of car is different. I had to buy a whole new set of winter wheels, so that's also an expense. Um, yeah, one of the things that was really bothering me when I got the new car, and I also had to consider this, was the fact that the ultrasonic sensors had been removed. Now, fortunately, Tesla has improved the system for detecting objects visually a lot since I got the car. So although it was a big concession at the time, now it's turned into less of a problem. And yes, I was also losing the home link functionality that was no longer included in the price of the car, and I had to buy that separately. Okay, so that's a part of the long list, but that's basically the differences that I noticed between the two cars. And for me, there were a lot more pros than cons, so that kind of helped. Okay, now let's get into the financials because that's an important part of the decision, of course. So when I was looking at the resale value, so I could have sold the car myself, but honestly, it's a bit of a hassle, and you do take the risk of having to deal with any kind of issues that the buyer encounters. So, or you sell it to a garage, and I mean a car dealership, and then of course you might not get a good price. So I got a quote from Tesla, and I was sitting down at the time, fortunately, because it kind of hurt my feelings. So the car I bought in 2019, the Tesla Model 3 dual motor, I bought it for 67,000 Swiss francs, including FSD. So about 60,000 without the FSD option. Now, after 4 years, and I don't remember, I think I had about 60,000 kilometers. Unfortunately, I don't have that exact number here. But Tesla offered me 23,000 Swiss francs for the car. Um, And if I compare that to a value with FSD, it was almost exactly the same, about maybe 500 francs difference. So basically, Tesla was not valuing FSD at all. And so when the FSD transfer option came, meaning that I wouldn't have to pay a cent and I would get FSD transferred to the new vehicle, for me, it was much more interesting to sell the car to Tesla. And so that's what I chose to do, despite the fact that it was pretty big, significant change. Now, one of the question is, why was the value lower than what I was expecting? Well, the truth is that Tesla has been so aggressive on price cuts that actually impacted the resale value of the cars that are existing on the road. And this has been an issue in the car resale value, especially EVs in general, because technology is evolving. Competition is really, growing significantly, especially with the Chinese cars. That basically the resale value, although is really, really good when I bought the car, it went down very, very fast. And especially in 2023, when I sold the car, it was pretty low. And because now nothing was how do you say it? Supply constrained. It was basically demand that was slowing down also in some markets. So anyway, so that's the resale value. So yeah, I would take a big hit, but it would still help me purchase the new car. So the new car that I chose, so it's the Model Y. It was built in 2023. Dual motor performance with the midnight cherry red color option. So that's an extra 3,000 francs for that option. And also the winter tires that were about 4,000 winter wheels for 4,000 if I remember correctly. Now the thing is, I made one interesting choice was to not buy a custom car. So what I did is that I followed basically the inventory offerings, and there I could get a pretty significant discount on the car. I think I got about 4,000 Swiss francs on the car. Unfortunately, I don't have the number here, but I think that's about it. And so that discount basically paid for the wheels. So look at inventory cars. That's really my recommendation. If you're not in a hurry to buy the car, although actually inventory cars will be available faster. So that's a very interesting option. The only downside is I had the car that finally came that I wanted was available only in Zurich. So I had to go drive all the way to Zurich with the old car, drop it off there, and drive the new one back. Yeah, so I had to drive all the way to Zurich, but it was a fun road trip anyway. Yeah, the only problem I had, to be honest, is the fact that the FAD hadn't been transferred. So on the way to Zurich, I had FSD, which was fine, and so very pleasant driving experience. On the way back, I didn't have it, but anyway, it was solved in a matter of hours. So going back to the numbers, so basically the new car cost me 63,200 minus the resale car, the car resale, so 23,000, and the lease that I set up. So the lease that I set up was a 4-year lease, and basically the resale value was, I mean, the leftover value was pretty high, about 24,000, but that gave me monthly payments of only 180 francs. So that's very low. Of course, I could have adjusted that any way I wanted, but I was actually very comfortable with that because I was sort of thinking that in 4 years, the EV market will be very different, and probably the resale value will tank again. So it made sense to think, okay, maybe the best option is not to keep the car at the end, and then go for something cheaper or something more adapted, or look into options into extending the lease or purchasing it if I really want to keep the car. So for me, that was a really good trade-off. It gave me a small monthly payment, and it gave me the opportunity to don't have to shell out a lot of money to buy the new car. So that's what I went with, and honestly, I'm very happy with this decision. It turned out really well, and I've the actual company that's providing the lease. So Tesla sort of puts this into contact. I think they offer two options for the lease, but I chose to go with Swissquote, which is surprising because I didn't know that they were in the car leases, but they have this special deal with Tesla, and so this was really really neat. In terms of insurance costs, I think it went up maybe 100 francs per year, but that's mostly because I think I improved the coverage, but it was not a significant amount. So really, there was nothing to talk about. But yeah, so that's basically the numbers. So the FSD transfer, let's talk about that very quickly. So basically the way it worked was that I had to request the FSD transfer to Tesla directly. It was not something, an option in the web interface, because clearly it was supposed to be something that was not going to happen often, and or not, or again, although it ended up changing that. I'm not even sure if they're still offering it or not, but basically it's some paperwork, and basically you set up um, the the change of cars, and you sign a document that you basically agree to doing this and everything, and that you're not reselling of cars that doesn't belong to you, all kinds of legal stuff. And when I gave in the car, I think it took about maybe 4 or 5 hours. I was expecting it to last maybe even longer, like a week or something. But no, it took only a few hours to get the option deactivated on the old car and activated on the new one. So I was really happy about that. Fortunately, I wasn't right at the beginning of the program, so probably some others had more issues, but I didn't have any problems. The only problem I had is that I think I was the second person in Switzerland to request this, and so nobody at Tesla Switzerland knew how to handle this. So that was been challenging because they only told me, "Oh, I don't know. I have to inquire in California and stuff like that." So but it turned out great. They were really good about it, and overall, it was fantastic. Okay, so in the end, if I sum up, basically sold the old car back to Tesla, did the FSD transfer, and got this new car. And it's been a while now because I got this car in August 2023, and I'm now filming this in March 2024. So I've had the car for a few months, and honestly, I couldn't be happier with a new car. It fits my need absolutely perfectly. The build quality amazed me, honestly. It's with the time spent with the car, I was expecting to discover some things, and honestly, for example, in the old Model 3, I had some issues with the panels here that were not perfectly aligned, although honestly you had to look for it to know about it. But here in this model, no issues whatsoever. The color is amazing. It's the midnight cherry red color. I've even had car cleaners comment about the color, saying that it was really really neat. And just to give you an example, basically depending on the amount of light the car gets, it's not exactly the same color. It's a little bit more red in bright sunlight, and it's a bit more dark when it's darker. So it's a really nice color. And yeah, so all the options. I absolutely love the heated steering wheel because I have issues with my fingers and my toes always being cold. It's a condition that I have, and here during all the winter, I have my fingers were always warm. And I know it's a detail, but in terms of experience, it's just fantastic. Yeah, so that's about it. I hope you liked this video. It was a bit long, a bit technical. I hope it was interesting enough. So don't hesitate if you have any questions. Some things I might have forgotten to mention. If you want any subsequent questions to be treated in a video, please let me know. I really read all the comments that I get, and thank you so much for everybody that's given me all the positive feedback until now. And yeah, I hope to see you in a next video. If you like this content, please subscribe and maybe even share it. This will definitely help me continue this because it's still a side job, you know. Maybe I'll get to do this professionally. I don't know, but it depends a lot on how people like these videos. All right, that's it. Thank you very much for watching. And I don't know if somebody has last words.
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, let's put you.
But by the way, I might not be in some of these videos because first of all I'm sick, and first of all I also still have a side job. I'm also now a plane spotter. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy his content. Make sure to go share and make sure to go subscribe to him because he's awesome.
Oh, thank you. All right, that's a wrap. Bye bye.